Sometimes some things that we just have to nod our head and move on. Because there are usually big questions. Why? And if you can't answer it, you just have to say, boy, there's nothing we can do. We just have to move on. Now, this mental ill man arrested after senior citizen succumbed to injuries from severe beating. Can you imagine what that man went through? So guys, once again, welcome. Guys, I'm back again with another bangarang. Today I have to address the issue of mental health in Jamaica. And this is not the first time it come up in one of my videos. So, a man who is said to be mentally ill has been arrested in connection with the death of a senior citizen who was allegedly beaten with a piece of board recently. Can you imagine what that elderly man went through? Just a few weeks ago, a mental health man did the same thing to a 3-year-old, and then know he is mental, yet he is charged and was representing himself in court. To me, this is like a joke, because that man not supposed to be representing himself. He needs some help. Now, Devon Williams is a 33-year-old laborer from Pagee who has been charged with the murder of 3-year-old Aisha Campbell and wounded 6 other persons on May 29th, and has reportedly had previous legal troubles with similar offenses in the United States since 2018. Yes, America has the facility and capabilities, but apparently he could have been dipped because of all the problems he had. And if him only have a green card or him don't have a green card, it costs a lot of money to keep them in mental institution and to feed them and to provide medication. So when they do America, then send him back in country. And see when come back at Jamaica come do. The man lived to be 86. The deceased man has been identified as an 86-year-old Vincent Lewin of Polyground district in Ayawatan. This incident is quite common in Jamaica, where individuals of unsound mind killing people, and yet the authorities do not take action to have some of these people off the streets. It is so funny, because years ago when people in a mad so there was Bellevue, but and what me understand that you have other things now, more than just Bellevue for them. But there are so many people that are out there. What is causing all this mental illness? Something must be triggering it off that they cannot facilitate all of these mental people nowadays. It is reported that about 10:30 a.m. on June 20, Lewin was walking along the roadway in Polyground when he was attacked by the suspect, who was armed with a piece of board. The suspect reportedly repeated hitting Lewin all over his body, injuring the old man, the 86-year-old man who couldn't defend himself. So Lewin was assisted to the Linstead Hospital, where he was treated and transferred to the Kingston Public Hospital. I bet you they ain't never get no CT scan or nothing like that to see what going on inside of him. Lewin reportedly succumbed to his injuries about 6:30 p.m. on Saturday, and investigations led to the arrest of the 38-year-old suspect. Now, not all mental illnesses are the same. And people in America, I must say, is not ashamed of saying I am taking medication for depression, or I have bipolar, or whatever it may be. But we as Jamaicans are embarrassed because people will call us mad, madman or madwoman, because they still are not educated that mental illness must be treated like any other chronic illnesses, and people do not buy sickness on themselves unless someone is like schizophrenic, where they are out of total control, they need to own up to their illnesses and forget about what someone will say. And maybe if people seek help, then one day, it might be seen as not a shame but an illness. And I read this comment, which I am going to read to you guys, and it does make a lot of sense. Someone wrote, condolences to the family of the deceased. Unfortunately, there are way too many mental illness persons who are walking around who are likely in need of assistance to deal with their trauma. Having said that, however, the saying which goes, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink, refers to all those who potentially could benefit from mental health services. But how many will acknowledge that? And how many, if they did acknowledge, say, would be consistent in following the prescribed therapy and or meds? Like anything in this world, the person themselves have to first recognize what their issues are and only then make the effort to seek or otherwise obtain whatever treatment that they need if it is available. Obviously, this is that the same person has to want to do this for themselves as the first step, followed by consistency throughout. It is not a joke. Now I'm saying that it is not a joke when someone has a neighbor who has mental issues to just tease and laugh at them, because this same person might crack one day and something like what happened to the 3-year-old or even the 86-year-old man can happen to one of them family member, even them. But what can the citizens do on the other hand? Now, education. And this can only come from the experts. How to deal with it and how they are as the authority can get these people off the streets. Mental health need a lot of education. People need to be educated to know that, well, I have issues and I need to seek help. Forget about everybody else and what they will say, because after a while, it will just come in like a breath. Somebody have hypertension or they're diabetic. But if the people are not educated, people are going to hide it, because maybe all this man with the mental illness now, maybe a lot of people, the whole heap of people in the neighborhood don't know that him did mad from, I shouldn't use such a harsh word, because now I'm talking about helping these people. I should not say mad, and I'm going to take that back. And I am not going to edit this out. And the reason why I'm not going to edit out when I say mad is because that's the first thing that usually come to our minds. Even though I know better, but that's the first thing that come to, and nobody want to be called mad. Nobody want to be called mad. And this is why you see people walking out there. Some of them know deep down within themselves that them have an issue, but they're not seeking help because they're trying to cover it. And if you have mental illness and you are trying to cover something that you have no control over, it is going to cause a problem somewhere down the road. So, when I say that the government, the people in authority, they need to educate people. They need to have like programs on the radio, on the TV, which talks about mental illness. And this will educate people. You know, people who have all Alzheimer. People tease them and say they're mad. And some of them will say them did live bad, or them did do somebody something, and when them are owned before them dead. Which is not the case. Because growing up as a child, I used to hear them say that people one up before them dead. I remember this woman, she was 105 years old and she had Alzheimer. Not for very long. And she was cursing all these bad words and things like that. Now, this woman was one of the nicest, kindest woman in the neighborhood. But this happened many years ago. People did not understand that the woman had no control of what she was saying. And people at the hospital, when people came, she didn't have any children. Her husband had died. But when people went to visit, the people them who in attendance, like the nurses and so, will tell them what she was saying. And believe me, she was really cursing and things like that. And at the time I was a child, but I did not understand either. And I would hear people say she did bad and she had won before she did. But it's not the case. It's just that people do not understand when there is mental issues. And until people understand and until they get education about this thing will continue happen. If they just roam in the streets and acting like they're normal, or people treat them as they are normal. So guys, this is really sad. Anyway, guys, if you have watched the video to this point, kind of make sure you subscribe to the channel, share the video, like the video, and hit that notification bell, guys, and come back here to get some more juicy gossips. I don't know if you would call this gossip. Some of them will be gossip. I am on this channel. I'm trying to be as kind as possible to people. I don't want to be a critic, but I just want to be on here to speak the facts as I see it. See you next time.